All right, sorry for the later upload, guys. I was with AFTV for the day, but Arsenal did beat Newcastle 3-2 in their second friendly of this pre-season tour and their final game in Singapore. I have to say, the Arsenal fans in Singapore, incredible. Always has to be mentioned because, you know, there are fans around the world who are getting up at ridiculous times to follow this football club. And I'm actually glad that Arsenal, I think, have put on a show in both games here in Singapore. Yes, against AC Milan, it was a bit flat. It was a little bit of the same old, same old. I think we're seeing different things a little bit from Arsenal this season, or attempting different things. And I think a lot of it came through in this Newcastle game. It was a 3-2 win, which went 1-0 behind. Just a quick sort of run through the moments. Obviously, they carved through us to go 1-0 up. Elanga. I haven't watched the replay. I don't know if it was quite a scuffed effort or something. But anyway, they're 1-0 up. Kai Havertz to the heart of it all as Mourinho equalises. Really good work when Mourinho wins it back. Trossard plays a lovely through ball. Havertz with a flip back and Mourinho slots it. It's a lovely finish into the back of the net. I mean, that's the thing I think he's got more than maybe every other midfielder we've got is a finish on him, but also understanding those late runs and knowing how to play off the players in front of him. And then Kai Havertz with the ball into the box. It's then an own goal. The third goal is then, Odegaard from the penalty spot after Murphy scores, and Raya probably should have done better. Now, obviously, we'll talk about Max Dowman, but just the things that I'm seeing, and you've got to forgive me, I'm watching. I sometimes think on the TV you get a better idea for these things. Please don't take that for 1 second as me complaining in any way, shape or form. It's incredible. The access, the view, seeing Gyökeres get announced was incredible. But in terms of talking about it from a tactical perspective, I'm finding it a little bit harder to quite work out. Are Saka and Trossard playing a little bit narrow at times? Are we looking a bit more fluid? Is there a little bit more freedom in the team? Now, we've always done things like have our midfielders drop deep to get the ball. We've always had Odegaard and other players like that. But I'm seeing Waneri drop very deep to receive the ball off Raya. I'm seeing Trossard do it. I'm seeing a little bit sort of higher pockets from Lewis Skelly at times, so that Zubamendi can drift off to that left too, sometimes having lanes of 6, not 5 in that attack. And it's interesting that Arsenal are playing with a little bit more fluidity and a little bit more freedom in what each player's role is. It's felt at times that there's a little bit of a... It was just a bit static at times. At times, I definitely worried that Arsenal were... the player roles were sort of too rigid is the word. You've got to forgive me, it's really late here, guys. It was always a bit too rigid. If you are Mourinho, you are crashing the box and you are holding, an area high up the pitch. If you're Lewis Skelly, you're inverting and you're playing next to R6. Whereas with Zubamendi, I'm seeing him float into lots of different areas. He's playing lots of really creative little passes in and around the penalty area. And therefore others are covering in his role, whether it be Lewis Skelly sitting a little bit deeper, whether it be others like Marino or Odegaard, whether I don't know, guys. This is all just kind of off the top of my head. I mean, even with one of the best chances we had, it was Marino out on the left wing who whips the ball into the box to Kai Havertz. He heads over, and then it's Kai Havertz who's out on the left who whips the ball into the box as we score. And that is, those are two players in areas you wouldn't expect them to be in. Now, we've done that before. Look at Granit Xhaka's cross into the box for Eddie Nketiah when he scored against Man United a couple of seasons back. And we know that Kai Havertz and our strikers always drifted to the left at times. But I don't know. There's something that feels a little bit more intentionally fluid about Arsenal. It's early. I definitely think we're trying to play more balls like centrally, like through to players in more kind of... in those kind of more congested areas. I think we're trying to go long more. Trossard pinged a lovely ball over the top to Saka. There are a few first-time passes from Zubamendi that he was looking to release us in behind, and Arsenal looking to be a little bit more direct. So that's interesting. What is Arteta cooking there? There's always a tactical evolution in some way, shape or form, even if it's just a tweaking of certain things. And I'm really interested to know if you guys agree that I'm picking up on some early things, but I might be wrong. And if I'm missing anything as well, let me know in the comment section below, because I'm really, really keen to know what you'll think from these first 2 games. And only 2 games in Singapore, but of course, we're off to Hong Kong to play Tottenham. Now, we want to talk about Max Dowman. I think that's got to be done because he's come on the pitch, and I don't know if it's even possible, he looked more impressive than he did against AC Milan. And of course, we're kind of, from one perspective, talking about it through the lens of a 15-year-old. We're also talking purely about the player. If we'd signed a £60 million winger and that was the impact they had coming on with 30 minutes of football to play, we'd all be going, wow, we've signed an absolute baller here. But we're not. We're talking about a 15-year-old who's coming through the academy only 1 year after Ethan Nwaneri, and the feeling that it was all a bit early for him. I'm blown away, people. And the thing is, I still want to put a lid on quite how much I want to say, because it still just doesn't feel right. We're talking about a 15-year-old whose talent, there shouldn't be any pressure. There should be no pressure whatsoever. And we should almost just be nodding along and kind of go, well, that's great, and we look forward to reaping the rewards of this talent in a few years' time. But the reality is, the way he's looking, he's going to play football this season in some way, shape or form. I'm convinced he is, because he looks so, and I know it's pre-season, I know, but don't judge the pre-season element off, the oppositions we're playing. By the way, AC Milan and Newcastle, judge how the other players in his position look, or other players in his team look against this level of opposition. He looks more impressive than, to be fair, I think Trossard's looked quite good in pre-season, but he looks more impressive than Trossard right now. He looks more impressive than Martinelli. Maybe I'm pushing it with Trossard, but do you know what I mean? Like, there are others who I would argue, Nwaneri's looked good, Dowman's looked as good, if not maybe better. And ultimately, the football will do the talking. The level of performance, forget how old, forget all these things. He's looking strong. And when you see that third goal, which was the penalty taken by Odegaard, it's come from Nwaneri getting the ball with his back to goal and then moving in a way to shape himself up against the fullback. So the fullback hasn't wanted to go. I think it was Livramento. I can't remember. But whoever it was, because he skinned Joe Linton a few times, they didn't want to get into Dowman immediately because he very quickly manoeuvred his way. So I should be careful what I say, by the way. I'm in the same hotel as the Newcastle players. Imagine I'm sort of saying, yeah, Livramento wanted none of it and he just strolls past. That'd be hilarious. Maybe I could ask him. But Dowman took the ball and he glided past Joe Linton when Joe Linton fouled him. But he also had this ability to front the fullback very, very quickly and then go. He's not doing 3, 4, 5 step overs and dropping the shoulder all the time. It's the timing of his touches, like the length of his strides and kind of the gliding in which he's just seamlessly going past players and they can't do anything about it. It's very, very unique. Very, very few players, and I'm not going to say names, play with that kind of guile and silk. And to see in a 15-year-old, but to see it ever, is kind of extraordinary in itself. And I think we need to, when I talk about Arsenal's squad next season, we need to start talking about Max Dowman as an option. And I mean it. Yes, he may not play 30 Premier League games. He may not even make 10 sub-appearances. But I think he will get on the pitch in some way, shape or form. Because early signs of his talent are, he can play some football now. That was Joe Linton and Newcastle, who were physical today, who got stuck in. And he absolutely faced it. Let me know your thoughts. Actually, let me know, how many Premier League appearances do you think Max Dowman will get in the Premier League? How many Premier League appearances will Max Dowman get in this upcoming season, 25-26? I'd love to know what you think. And yeah, good win though. I just thought Arsenal looked sharp. And yeah, it's definitely a good evolution from what we saw against AC Milan here in pre-season in Singapore. But we're off to Hong Kong next.